Well, let's get straight into it. 21 after 9. Lester Kivett had spoken to the Organization of Undoing Tax Abuse on the State Capture's portfolio manager. A preliminary investigation by the SIU has found that more than 5 billion rand in funding from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme has been possibly allocated to students who do not qualify for the funding. The probe revealed that at least 40,000 students in 76 higher education institutions could have been incorrectly funded. These are students who don't qualify for funding because their annual household income is more than 350,000 rand limit as per the funding rules. The SIU said there are students who had not submitted their parents' details when they applied. The independent statutory body presented its shocking findings to Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts, or ISCOPA. Now, it's not only students defrauding the scheme, but for NSFAS whose internal measures are not in place. The coin has got two sides. One can not only look at the students, we must also look at the NSFAS to get their act together. I think in their past, NSFAS neglected its vetting processes and didn't do a thorough vetting of the applicants. I've heard that they have roped in SARS and SASSA to help them to determine that people who apply for these bursaries have a family income that is indeed less than 350,000 rand benchmark. It's 5 years after the former president, Jacob Zuma, announced that there will be free education, and 5 years down the line, NSFAS doesn't have their systems up and running, and it is something that has to be sorted out so that we don't have a repeat of billions of rands going to waste. Treasury wants Eskom to get its house in order and fix ailing power stations with its own money. It briefed the Parliament on Eskom's debt relief bill, reiterating that the power utility may not borrow for the next 3 years. The department says Eskom won't be receiving any more financial support from the government, and it must fund all its expenditures from tariffs raised from customers. We are very comfortable with the decision by National Treasury, said Martin Bass, acting Eskom CFO. It will actually allow us the opportunity to do more long-term planning because we can now more accurately predict how much money we will have available. So government is starting to pull back on the support that they have been giving Eskom and that Eskom has been enjoying all along. With a job and a trust fund, a husband must pay 200,000 rand a month maintenance pending the divorce deal. The High Court in Johannesburg has ordered a man involved in a divorce action with his wife to pay 200,000 rand maintenance monthly towards her pending the finalization of their divorce. The court also ordered that the man contribute 100,000 rand towards her legal fees for their divorce case. The woman approached the court seeking an order for maintenance of 110,600 per month, fuel cost, insurance, and annual license fee for her vehicle. She also asked that the mobile phone costs 50,000 rand for relocation costs, a rental deposit, and the first month's rental. The wife told the court that they lived an above average standard of living during their marriage. She said the man used to take care of her personal monthly expenses to the tune of about 117,200 rand. She said the husband had different sources of income, and some carries cash, many money transfers and deposits are made into his bank accounts. She also indicated how the man had used the finances during their marriage, such as financing his extramarital affair, including purchasing a property. They lived in a paid-up 4-bedroom house valued at 5.8 million rand and have been together for about 13 years and married in community of property for about 6 of those years. The woman had a daughter from a previous relationship, and there was no child born in their marriage. She did not work, and the man had always provided for her and her daughter. The woman said the husband allowed her to use a credit card to run the household. However, currently the credit card often has a zero balance. For about 11 years, she had a credit card which she could spend between 40 and 50,000 rand a month. This is now unpaid. The wife told the court that since their estrangement, they live in separate rooms in the house. Between herself and her domestic worker, they cook and leave his food at his bedroom door. She intends to move out as the situation destroys her mental health. The husband told the court he could not afford the wife's demands as he earns 55,000 rand. He stated he is indebted in an amount of 1.7 million rand and cannot afford the amount requested by the wife. He confirmed to the court that he was from a wealthy family and claimed the woman was trying to gain access to his family's wealth. He said his parents acquired many successful businesses and he was made a director of some. While his parents were alive, he would receive large sums of money which helped fund his exorbitant lifestyle. Since the passing of his parents, however, his financial position has changed drastically as his wealth is managed through a trust to which he is a trustee with his two siblings. He said the siblings are astute business people who refuse to fund the previous lifestyle. Acting Judge N. Mazibuko found that in context of their standard of living, their obvious means and current responsibilities, it does not seem the maintenance requirements are in any way unreasonable and exorbitant. It was not in dispute that the party's homestead had a monthly expenditure of 202,300 rand funded by the man, and the judge said that he had an ongoing duty to support due towards his homestead. In addition to the monthly allowance, the court ordered the man should continue to retain the woman and daughter on his medical aid at his cost pending the finalization of the divorce. In addition, the wife shall have continued use of the Mercedes C200 AMG owned by the man that she has been using all along. Yes. So, a security guard gave women a lift and then he raped them. His modus operandi is offering lifts to women before raping them, and it is what police used to link a security guard to 38 other dockets where women were sexually violated in Ekurhuleni. When police first arrested the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA, security guard in January, he was facing 2 charges of rape that occurred the same month in October last year. However, police investigations revealed that his reign of terror began 5 years ago in Davidton, Benoni, and Tembisa, and is now facing a total of 145 charges, including 44 for rape, 43 for kidnapping, and 41 for pointing a firearm. The 38-year-old man's identity cannot be revealed as he is yet to undergo a police identity parade. National Prosecution Authority spokesperson Lumka Mahajana said that the man started his reign of terror in 2018 until his arrest this year. After the accused was arrested, 38 dockets with the same modus operandi were brought from the different police stations in Ekurhuleni, and that's how the additional charges were put to the accused. It is alleged that the man would accost women as they got to trains and offer them a lift before raping them. His arrest in January came just after he allegedly raped a woman he had forced into his car after pointing a firearm at her. The woman was waiting for a taxi to go to work, and when she refused his lift, he threatened her with the firearm. He then drove to Badfontein, where he raped her. He was arrested a week later through an intelligence operation by police that linked him to 14 other cases. Since his arrest, the man duped the Benoni and Tembisa. The man dubbed the Benoni and Tembisa serial rapist has been charged with 44 counts of rape, his youngest victim being 14 years old. He's facing 17 other charges that include defeating the ends of justice and fraud. He appeared at the Davidton Magistrates Court yesterday, where his case was postponed for the 10th of May for a formal bail application. Russia is running a fleet of ghost ships in the Baltic Sea where their transmitters are turned off as they map offshore wind farms, gas pipes, power, and internet cables in the water around the Nordic nations for possible sabotage attacks. They are just some of the explosive claims that made the documentary called The Shadow War, produced by public broadcaster from Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Norway, which looks at Russia's intelligence operations across the region. One man on the ship was wearing a uniform with a bulletproof vest and an assault rifle as the ship sailed past a wind farm in Scotland, England, and the Netherlands. Experts say the intelligence information gathered on such voyages is sent straight back to the Kremlin. A couple has been banned from booking flights on Fly SA Fair after they were reported to have engaged in a sexual act on board a flight from Gauteng to Durban this week. It's reported that a businessman had complained about the couple's activities. He claimed that the woman had her hands in her partner's pants while the plane waited to take off. The man who filmed the activity alleged that he could not leave his seat for safety reasons, and the couple's activity, which included kissing and giggling, continued while the aircraft took off. He said as soon as he could leave his seat, he reported the incident to an air hostess. The businessman added that he expected the police to get involved. Fly SA Fair Chief Marketing Officer Kirby Gordon said the company condemned lewd and indecent acts. We reserve the right of admission on our flights, and we've taken the action of banning these individuals from any future flights. We've cancelled any future bookings and set their details on our system so that no future reservations will be accepted. He explained that for the police to get involved, the passenger who witnessed the sexual act needed to lay a charge against the couple, something he believed the businessman was considering. Migrants on the UK's rapidly expanding farm worker visa scheme face systematic bullying, abuse, and growing debt. An investigation by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and Vice World has found 875. Angel still remember her number months after leaving the UK. The number assigned to her on the farm, the number was used instead of her name when her supervisor ordered her to work faster or punished her. Angel, a single mother from South Africa, said that she felt like a prisoner, being shouted at and undermined constantly. No matter how hard she worked, her name and real number she was called by have been changed to protect her identity. Even before we start work, the supervisor will be screaming at us. Last year, during the hottest summer on record, Angel and hundreds of other workers at Durnsdale fruit farm in Staffordshire were told to pick and sort about 100 kilograms to 150 kilograms of strawberries every day inside polytunnels designed to trap heat. It was so hot that at least one worker fainted, she said. The strawberries they picked ended up on the shelves of some of the UK's largest supermarkets, including Tesco, Co-op, and Lidl. Russia. Why is the former NATO Secretary General lobbying for a new member of Russia's military alliance? It is easy to forget in this time of war in the Ukraine that NATO is an organization supposed to enable peace. So why would anybody raise questions when a past NATO Secretary General goes to a country not to in the NATO alliance to foster or pitch peace between it and its long-term rival and neighbor? This happened in mid-March, when the former Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen visited Armenia, in an ex-Soviet nation in the Caucasus, trying to negotiate a peace treaty with its neighbor Azerbaijan after the conflict 2 years ago. It's 32 minutes after 9 a.m. and as we continue, lastly, instead, they want, Parliament wants Gordon to appear over suspended DG's cronyism alleged about the SAA deal. Instead, they want Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan to appear before the Public Enterprises Portfolio Committee to respond to allegations made by suspended Director General Kgathatso Tlhagudi before they make a decision. Tlhagudi, who was suspended in June last year, made a protected disclosure complaint to National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Tlhagudi accused Gordhan of corruption and claimed that he was punished for refusing to implement illegal and irregular instructions in the relation to the sale of SAA. The government announced a partnership between Takatso Consortium almost 2 years ago, and a deal that will see the private entity acquire 51% of government's shareholding in SAA. But this transaction has been shrouded in secrecy.
This is KNR. Radio according to you.